Good evening. Well, I've come out tonight, believe it or not, to fish during a lunar eclipse. It's very, very early in the morning, 3 a.m. The lunar eclipse is just happening, and I'm here to determine what effect the lunar eclipse actually has on fishing. I suppose there's a lot of things to determine, such as the tide. I'm fishing on a beach, so the tide is a high, low tide, or somewhere in between. Barometric pressure, is it rising, falling, or steady? The wind. So what I'm trying to say is there are a lot of factors involved. But let's just see what happens on this evening during a lunar eclipse. Maybe nothing, maybe no different to normal. Maybe it's to do with the position of the moon, whether it's rising, setting, or somewhere in between. But let's get a line in the water and just see what happens during a total lunar eclipse. Since the moon is just a couple of hours off setting, we've got a fairly low tide. So that may be a determining factor. Let's work it all out later. We'll have to have a look at the barometric pressure. Look at that. Into it already. The moon is just total. Oh, good fight. I'm fishing in a bit of a gutter here. I had a look at the beach earlier, so I pretty much know where the sandbars are, where the gutters are. And the fight's reasonably good too. Pretty hard to determine what it is. It's not a lot of head shake. Although it took off fairly well when it took off. Now it's fighting like a salmon. There we go. Nice Australian salmon. It's got a big something, obviously attacked it at some stage. Look at that. Got a big scar on it. So there we have a nice Australian salmon caught immediately. The lunar eclipse had started. Let's see if this trend continues. He can go back. Next wave will take him out. I'm putting another half pilchard on, which is what I just used the tail section for the first cast, the last cast. So let's see what happens with the head section. Okay, second cast. Got a bit of sideways movement with the current. That's okay, it'll take it into the deeper water if anything. If we cast our eyes towards the moon now, it's in total eclipse and it's the blood red colour. Okay, this bait's been out for about 5 minutes, so let's just check. There's still bait on there. I haven't felt a bite. But let's just make sure the bait's still intact. So yes, the bait still good enough for a fish to eat. Let's get it out again. As you can see with this weather map, where I'm located, we're on the backside of a high pressure system, so the barometer will be falling. There's a cold front approaching. It's going from west to east, and it'll be here in a day or so. So the barometer will fall in the meantime. This time the head of the pilchard was taken. I like the cut at an angle. I'm cutting these in half. This gives you a little bit more on each side to put the hook through. Just put on another tail section. Half hitch around the tail. Maybe a double half hitch. Like that. I have pilchards and I have prawns, so I'll just try the pilchards at the moment, and then we'll give the prawns a try. A total lunar eclipse will only happen during the full moon. It's the fullest that the moon ever gets. It's when the moon, sun and earth are all aligned. So the moon is rotating the earth, and as it moves through the shadow, that's when the eclipse is happening, of course. I've had 3 baits out. Put a salmon on the first. The next 2 were picked off. I could only just feel a light picking of the bait. When it comes to other tides affecting the fish feeding, it will depend on what time that the lunar eclipse actually occurs, whether it's high tide or low tide, and that's going to be determined by which part of the sky the moon's in as the lunar eclipse is taking place. Now, coming out at 3 o'clock in the morning during a lunar eclipse, some people might think I'm a bit mad, but they reckon the lunar eclipse can send people a bit mad, so maybe that's what's happened. But I've had a bit of a fascination for the moon for many decades now. In fact, so much so that I've, for the last close to 50 years or 5 decades, I've kept records of my fishing outings and noted the moon phase. I've noted a lot of different elements actually, the barometric pressure, the whether there's storms approaching, all sorts of things, tides and wind. For all those things I've kept records for close to 5 decades, and I was determined to try and study the patterns that were happening, and I think I've got it pretty much down pat. So I've collated all this information into a book called Fishing of the Lunar Connection. I've got a QR code here which you can scan if you want a copy of that book, or you can get an electronic version if you don't want to pay freight and that sort of thing. But just scan the QR code and it'll take you straight to the Amazon site where this book is available. But it's fascinating to see how these cycles repeat themselves time after time after time, all based on up there, the lunar cycle. Now this book will give you a total understanding of fish feeding patterns, what can trigger them to feed, so that you can plan your fishing trips when the fish are likely to be feeding. Now this would make an ideal gift for the beginner or the experienced fisher looking to learn a bit more. Okay, we're using a prawn. See how that goes. Oh, here we go, getting a bite on the prawn. Yeah, got something. Feels like it's on there. Only small, could be a, who knows, a whiting. It's a nice brim. Ooh, it looks like dinner tonight. Beautiful. That was caught on the prawn. Okay, I'll try another prawn. As soon as I caught a brim on the last one. Looks like the moon's just coming out of the shadow now. It's now 5 AM. We're just coming out of the lunar eclipse. You can see the sun starting to shine on the top side of the moon there. And I think this will happen fairly quickly. That's the sky to the west. Let's swing around to the east. See the sky starting to lighten up from the sun, approaching dawn. Okay, so we're approaching sunrise, which is probably in about half an hour, just over half an hour. Not getting many bites at all, actually. Will persist. The tide's about halfway in, I suppose, now. I'll just try another prawn. Almost done, and the moon's almost set, and the sun's almost rising. Just on moon set, dawn. If there's any activity, it should be now. I've got half a filtered out. The water's not that warm, it's 16, 17 degrees, so it's probably comparable to the temperature above the water. After the sun had risen and there was a bit more light around, I took the opportunity to throw a few lures just to see if there was anything chasing the lures. Okay, the sun is rising. Dawn and sunrise were non-productive. There's a bit of light around now. Tide's getting fairly high, but still not much activity. Been here for a little while now after sunrise. I've had one bite, just a soft bite, and pretty much it. Check out this cute little fellow sitting just up behind me, checking me out. Okay, what conclusion can we draw from fishing the lunar eclipse? Well, I caught a couple of fish during the event, and since the event has finished, I've fished sunrise, which is normally a pretty good time, as is moonset, which they did coincide today. I fished for about another hour or so after sunrise and have caught nothing. Tide's coming in, so it's pretty good tide. However, that's not what we're here for. We're here to try and determine if the fish bite better during a lunar eclipse, and it seems to be substantiated that that is the case. I have fished before previously during a lunar eclipse in shallow water in a tidal lake. During that period I caught 8 bream, 1 flathead, a nice flathead, and a tailor. During the eclipse, as soon as the eclipse finished, nothing. So next lunar eclipse, probably worth your while to get out there and have a bit of a fish.
Well, you wouldn't believe it after saying that. I had one more cast and I hooked into this.
Possibly a bream. Go, a good solid bream. That was caught on a prawn. Got the front of his dorsal fin is missing.
If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like and share. Thanks for watching. If you're keen to see a few more fishing adventures and to learn a bit more, be sure to watch a couple of these videos.